All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are so excited about today's Profitable Recruiter webinar because we have a very special guest with us. I'm going to start by saying welcome, Judy, our coach, Judy Lador. Hello, Judy.
Julie, how are you doing? Great.
And our very special guest is Michael Creasy. I don't know why I've got an echo. Michael has a unique style that demystifies video marketing and helps brokers and agents implement this powerful new strategy and get results. He's a licensed real estate broker, a syndicated columnist, a freelance internet marketing consultant who's been featured on REM, Inman, The Train, just to name a few. As a sought-after speaker and trainer, he's best known for helping utilize video and video marketing in a way that actually works to make you money. During our call today, we're going to take questions from you, the audience. You can use that little Q&A panel. So on that note, take it away, Michael.
Hey there, Julie. Are you getting? Okay, so somebody's microphone is picking up somebody else's speaker.
Judy, why don't you mute yours?
Okay.
Okay, let's try it now. All right, so there is a reverb coming through. So you guys are gonna have to kill your mics altogether. Ah, that works. Okay, so I'm taking it from here. Hopefully you want me to keep going. So anyway, today's video webinar is going to be about, well, I dropped the word video, and it's for you broker managers, recruiters out there that are trying to recruit agents using video. And I'm here to dispel the myth that video is not too expensive, it's not too hard. Once upon a time, yes, it was all those things, but it's not any longer. If you have a cell phone, if you got a tablet, a webcam, you're in the video making business. Literally, you're in the video making business. So today I'm going to cover the 6 steps to make video like a pro, what I call the trifecta for creating the perfect message, the gear that you can buy on a shoestring budget, and the before, during, after for ideas to create content, and this philosophy of mine that you don't have to be perfect, good enough is good enough. So let's get started here. And I hit my slide, it doesn't want to advance. There we go. Okay, so technical difficulties. Life wouldn't be fun without difficulties. So this one here, this slide reminds me of the old Ford expression that those who say they can and those who say they can't are generally right. And when it comes to doing video, I can't do it. It's too expensive. I'm too ugly. Guess what? You're right. But the same philosophy applies. I can do this. You know what? You're right. But there are certain things in life, and I'll grant it, that you can't do. You can't do this. You can't see your ears unless you're standing up front of a mirror. You can't count your hair, unless like you're me, follically challenged, but you can't count your individual strands of hair. And the other thing is you can't breathe through your nose with your tongue sticking out. And I know a bunch of you are trying it. Yes, you can do that. But when I do this on stage, it's really funny to see people trying to lick their nose. But that's just me being goofy. Let's move on here. So brokers, managers, you are setting the example for your agents. And what I mean by that, you don't have to thump your chest to say you're a superhero. They know by the way you conduct yourself, the way you treat them, that you're a good guy, a bad guy, good girl, or a bad girl. But when it comes to video, if you're not doing this, if you're not leveraging the technology, in essence, what you're doing is giving them permission to not do it as well. And what I'm suggesting, brokers, if you want to recruit and retain, video is not the newest trend. And this gets me excited every time I'm speaking on stage. I'll have 100 people or 1,500. There'll always be someone that comes up to me all excited to show me the latest toy they just bought. And they were at some conference and they go, Michael, guess what the latest and greatest thing is? And I go, what? They go, video. Video's all the rage. And I go, let me write that down. I've only been teaching, and here's my Mike Ferry accent, I've only been doing this for 10 years. Good, your head. What are you thinking? But that's what's happening, guys. Video is not a passing fad. 50% of all communication right now on mobile devices is video. And if we were sitting face to face right now and I said, hold up your hand, if you've watched a video in the past 24 hours, I'll guarantee you your hands will go up. So getting back to the ducks, line your ducks up in a row. They will follow you. Give them permission to do so. And don't worry about it being perfect. We're going to get into that in a second. So for all you right brain people out there, the engineers of the world, my brother is an engineer. So when I ask him for the time, he goes into the history of the mechanics of the watch. He tells me how everything turns, and an hour later, his wife calls to remind him it's dinner, and then I know it's 5 o'clock. Otherwise, I'd never get the time. So for you analyticals, here it is. 73% of homeowners want an agent that's using video, and this is an NAR stat. The other part, 4 billion views on YouTube, 8 billion on Facebook, 6 billion on Snapchat. You know that little app that people drop their pants, show their butts, and then pull them back on again? That's what the kids use. I have no idea. I'm not on Snapchat. But the point is, the numbers don't lie. Billions of people are watching videos. And if they're not watching your videos, they're watching your competitors. And you as a broker manager trying to recruit, if they're not watching your recruiting videos, guess what? Your agents are watching someone else's. And I mentioned this stat already, 50% of all traffic right now is on mobile. They're predicting by 2021, it's going to be closer to 90% of all traffic on mobile devices is video. So that's for you engineers. Another point is this one here. What we see in a video, we'll retain about 95% of that versus what we read, only 10%. And when scientists have done heat mapping of the brain, you know, when they stick in all those little electrodes and stuff like that, well, the reason it lights up so much is because one part of our brain is focused on visual, when something moves, because that's how we evolved as animals. To survive from being eaten and killed, we react by what we see. Next to the hawk, humans have the most advanced vision on any other creature on the planet. The other part that we respond to is when we see text, because another part of our brain has to decipher this thing that's going across the screen. And then we hear stuff like audio, or we hear a voice. This is what causes all these different parts of the brain to get engaged, and hence this retention rate of 95%. Now, I'm going to try to play this video. And when I do, let me just explain to you, there's going to be two teams here, a white team and a team wearing black t-shirts. The team that's wearing the white t-shirts, count how many times they pass the basketball to one another. So let me pause that. Hey, Julie, are you on? I guess I'm. Okay, did you see the gorilla?
I do.
Okay, you know, 50% of the audience will not see the gorilla. So if you saw the gorilla, did you notice the curtains actually changed from one color to orange? I'll take that as a no. And the other part too, when the gorilla came on, there was actually a girl wearing a black t-shirt that left at the same time. And so about 90% of the room won't see that. So let me just rewind this. So here they are. Here comes our gorilla. And then notice as the gorilla's there, the curtains change color. So the reason I put that up there is because when we focus on something, when we tell our viewers that are watching our video to pay special attention to, that's what they're going to do. And everything else in the background is going to be obliterated because they're focusing on what we told them to focus on. That's the real power of video. Now, the other thing to keep in mind too, when it comes to search right now, and I know this isn't really so much about recruiting yet, but just to set the backstory, I'm sure you all know that Google owns YouTube. And when it comes to search right now, the predominant search term is how to find the proper brokerage, how to stage my home for sale, how to make the most money when I sell my home. Anything with a how to ranks higher in search. And guess what comes up when people search? Yeah, video. Video is what comes. It's not just text anymore. If you do a search right now, you'll find the most things that appear right on the top. First page rankings on Google is video. And obviously they're doing that because it's a retention thing. The longer you stay on YouTube, the more the advertisers are going to make money. So just understand, this is not the future. This is the now. This is where we are right now. We are in this video age. Now, this part here, when it comes to actually watching a video, it doesn't matter if they're watching it on a TV screen or on their little cell phone or one of those high big definition things that you have in your rec room. You're an authority. And as long as you can articulate a sentence without your knuckles dragging like that gorilla in the previous episode there, you'll be perceived as someone that the people can get to know, like, and trust. And this is a psychological term. It's actually known as parasocial behavior. And when people start watching your videos, the more they watch, they get this feeling. They're getting a visceral experience of who you are. And even though they've never met you, here's the really cool part. You could be shopping at the mall, pushing a cart, or maybe having a coffee. People will start coming up to you and engage in a conversation like you're some lost long friend, because this parasocial behavior aspect has triggered. They fill in all the missing bits. There's something about you they like. They don't know what it is, but the more they see your videos, the more they feel comfortable about you. And from a recruiter's point of view, oh my gosh, this is so crucial, because when your prospective prospects are watching you, when you finally do get that chance to meet them for a coffee or at a trade show or maybe on a caravan, they are going to feel like they already know, like, and trust you. You don't have to try to sell them, because they will treat you like a friend. Now, when it comes to video, Michael, one of the things I hear all the time, video has to be perfect. I'm too fat. I'm too hairy. Anything with a 2 out front of it. It's got to be Hollywood perfect. And my argument is nothing is further than the truth than that. This movie here, Blair Witch Project, I think it came out back in the late 70s, early 80s, and it cost about $24,000. And if you haven't seen it, well, being Halloween, try to find it. I think maybe on Netflix or YouTube. It's got to be out there somewhere. But it was a shaky black and white style documentary. Now, even though it was shaky, people will forgive a shaky video, as long as you're not having an epileptic fit and you fall off a roller coaster or something. But if they can't hear you, if they have to strain to hear the audio, they'll disengage within 4 seconds. And so this movie was shaky video and bad audio. Well, no, actually, the audio was good, but shaky video grossed over $240 million for a $24,000 movie. So the takeaway is, think sloppy success versus perfected in action. And that's the takeaway here. Don't overanalyze this. There's no such thing as a perfect video. And I've been shooting video for 10 years, and what I've discovered is good enough is good enough. Just get it done. Because here's the expression I like to say, my crappy video will beat the one you never do every time. I'm going to say that one more time. My crappy video will beat the one you never do every time. So here's a video here. I'm not going to play it because the audio won't come through, but backstory, I was presenting to the Real Estate Educators Association and Real Estate Educators Association, sorry. And I guess we did something good because they asked us to stay for beers and a barbecue after, and I won a door prize. And as I'm going through this bag that had the prizes in it, I pull out a can of coffee from the island of Kona in Hawaii, cookies from Maui, macadamia nuts covered in chocolate, and the last thing I pulled out of the bag was a can of Spam. But not just any Spam. It was Portuguese sausage flavored Spam. And you're saying, Michael, what does that have to do with video? And I was asking myself the same thing. What's that got to do with the door prize? Because in the back of my mind, it's Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other. Well, this guy here, Scott, he's an instructor from Hawaii. And he was the one that put together these little prizes, these, goodie bags or whatever. And I said, hey, Scott, what's the deal with the Spam? And he said, well, Michael, didn't you realize that on the island of Hawaii, or in Hawaii, Spam is actually a holiday, because during the war, it was the only meat product that we could get. So there's a national holiday to Spam. So here I am. I'm about 5'10". Scott looks like, well, he's the gentle giant, about 10 feet tall. So we did an impromptu interview. My wife, Diane, stood on a chair to shoot this video using my iPhone. And I uploaded it to YouTube with a couple keywords and a couple phrases. And about 3 weeks later, my crappy video that I would rank on a scale of 1 to 5 being 1, that you could have done it in the shower, well, the conversation or the phone call went like this. Hey, Michael, it's fill in the blank from the Hawaii Association of Realtors. How would you like to come out to Hawaii and teach our instructors how to do video? And I said, you had me at, hello, it's Hawaii. But the part that we filled in after the fact was, I said, well, if the instructors are going to be there, why don't we get out your realtors to be there? And if you pick up the expense of bringing my wife out there, cover the flight, meals, that kind of stuff, we got a deal. So literally, we had a 3-week all expense paid trip to Hawaii, going on to 4 different islands doing video. So what do you think of my one video now?
Yay.
This gal here, hey, oh, so you can talk, Julie. Hey, okay, no feedback. How am I doing so far?
You're doing great. I'm hopping in and out, so.
Okay, cool. Well, if you guys haven't seen this video, this is Chewbacca Lady, and I would urge you to do a YouTube search, Candace Payne, there she is there. And these numbers are kind of old. It's 165 million people have watched this video. And look down here, almost 4 million people have shared it. Now, if I were to actually play this video, the backstory is this. It was her birthday. She's sitting in a Kohl's parking lot, and she bought herself a Chewbacca mask. And she puts on the mask, and she's recording all this via Facebook Live. And if you don't know what Facebook Live is, literally it's live. When you go onto Facebook and you hit the little tab that says live video, it is now streaming for the world to see. As a result of this video, her laughing, having a great time, she ended up on every major talk show. She's got a motivational book and CD series out. I don't know if she can form a sentence, but when you watch this video, there's something about this woman just radiates, and that's the whole power. Remember, I talked about parasocial behavior. If she were to walk into the room, you'd say, hey, Candace, can I buy you a coffee? There's just something there. There's this transparency, if you will, or authenticity between what you see on the screen and what comes in real life. And I'm going to say this to you brokers, managers that are doing recruiting. Don't think that you have to run out and buy a suit that you can't afford, that you have to have back at the store by 5, or that you're doing videos at the car dealership out front of a Mercedes that you don't own, because that's not congruency. If you can just be yourself, because everyone else is taking, you will have the hit video, if you will. And I'm not going to say it has to be Hollywood perfect. I would argue that the more perfect, if I can use that as a phrase, the more perfect a video you have, the further it will push people away. Because they're looking for someone that's authentic and that is approachable. And that's what video does. Remember parasocial behavior. They'll fill in all the missing bits and you will become someone that they know, like, and trust. Now, I've been teaching video now for about 10 years. And what I've discovered is we have reasons and excuses. And the excuses, well, this is generic. My wife tells me I should be eating more organic food. And my argument is, well, it's too expensive. It's too hard to do. I don't have the time. Well, she also tells me I should probably hit the gym more. Well, the gym's expensive. It's too hard to do. I don't have the time. I think you know that there's a trend happening here. But what I've discovered when it comes to video is that there's reasons. And these are the personal things. I don't know what to say. I don't want to feel foolish. I don't like the way I look. And these are all the, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm anything with a too out front of it. And the problem with that is, be prepared to laugh at yourself, because if you don't, there's an army of people that will. So you have to stop taking yourself so seriously and just lighten up. Take that monkey off your back. And I'm telling you, if you can stop being so serious about yourself, life just takes on a whole different demeanor and you'll start having fun. And especially with video, don't get hung up with the way you think you look. Because guess what? On your business card that has your picture of when you were 16, your high school graduation. Let's run with that for a bit. Yeah, let's run with that, the prom picture. And I see that because, man, Julie, I teach thousands of realtors so far. And you take that card and you look at it, and hopefully through all the collateral that you've been doing, you know, your fridge magnets, postcards, calendars, everything that you send out has your picture on it. Well, the phone's going to ring. And one day it's going to be a home seller saying, hey, come out and list my home. Or you brokers, recruiters, it's an agent saying, hey, I'm interested in meeting with you. And then when you show up and they look at the card, they look at you, they look at the card, they look at you, they're going to call 911 to report a missing realtor. Why? Because there isn't that congruency between what you've been sending out. That expectation of what they thought was going to show up is not there.
Exactly. What are you going to do? Surprise them when they show up?
Yeah, trick or treat Halloween, man. That's what it is. But if we take this back to that trifecta of know, like, and trust, Julie, what have you done to trust? It's gone. And how hard is it to get trust back after you've lost it?
Absolutely.
So brokers, managers, agents on the call, be yourself. Like I said, everyone else is taken. And again, laugh at yourself, because if you don't, others will. It's that simple. So this is a little phrase I like to say: I'm not perfect, nor will I ever be. I'm a work in progress, and that's definitely good enough. And the phrase that I use in class is I get people to stand up on the chairs and they're screaming and yelling. It's like a religious revival. Good enough is good enough. Good enough is good enough. And I'll take that back to my crappy video will beat the one you never do every single time. Good enough is good enough. And if you go back and watch the Chewbacca lady video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's something she did raw, real, in the car, Facebook Live, and boom, she's a celebrity.
And you
So let's
absolutely
get-
warm up to her immediately. I mean, that's just one of those videos.
Oh yeah, and
Create that
again, that's
connection.
that's the power of the video medium. People get this visceral response, this feeling of who you are. Now, this one here, I don't know if you remember Karate Kid, and there's Miyagi, the sensei, who's helping this kid on his journey, and he's doing this right-hand circle, left-hand circle thing. And basically what that is, it's a basic block. So if you're going to study martial arts, if you don't learn the basics, you'll never get to the advanced level. And in video, it's exactly the same thing. I'm going to share with you 6 basics that when you master these 6 little things, your videos will look like you're a professional. And these things are so simple. Don't, because of their simplicity, write them off as being trivial. Trust me, these little things add up upon one another to become powerful in terms of your video. So let's go with the first one. Number 1, if you're going to do a video and it's a minute or longer, set your phone for do not disturb. And the reason we do that is you're all psyched up and maybe you're just starting off with video and you've got the message in your head and you hit record, and as you're about to spew out your first word, you get a tweet, or you get a Facebook message, or you get an email coming through, or some kind of disturbance comes across your phone. So what happens? You got to stop. You have to stop the video. You've got to recompose yourself, and then you have to do it all over again. Well, the easiest way to avoid that, set your phone for do not disturb. The next one is forget the fact that you're holding a phone. In your hand right now, you have a high definition video camera. And if you look at the new iPhone that just came out, Apple is no longer investing money in the phone because, hey, it rings, it answers calls. You can't really get much better at that. But the money now of all the different competitors is being spent on the camera side of the phone. More detailed lenses, better effects, apps. All the money is going to that aspect of the phone because now they've realized we're living in a digital age. We're in a multimedia age, and video is crucial. So holding your phone horizontally, if you're doing a video that you're uploading to YouTube, you have to do it. Because I'm sure you've seen videos that have black horizontal bars on the left side or the right side. That's not a technique. It just means the person shooting the video didn't know how to hold their phone, or in this case, hold the camera. So hold it horizontally. Now, I'll say the only caveat to that, if you're doing a video for Instagram, Instagram likes square video. That's when you would hold it vertically. But get into the habit of doing video this way, horizontally, and it fills up the entire screen. Point number next. You want to make sure that you're holding your camera at eye level. Eye level. And the reason we're doing this, and I'm sure you've seen this in the past, let's say you've got your laptop and you're doing a webcam type video or email. The camera is looking up at you. And it's going to catch, it's a high definition camera. So if you've got hairs coming out of your nose or cauliflower sticking out of your ears, and gentlemen on the call, as we age, we get that triple chin thing
Nobody
happening.
wants that chin shot, man.
Oh man, it's just brutal, Julie. It's brutal, but that's what gets caught by a high definition camera. And the other thing too, if you think about having a conversation that's really tall and they look down at you, you feel intimidated.
Sure.
And this is a psychological thing that's happening in the background. You don't even know why, but you just get that feeling. And the same thing happens with people that are watching your videos. If they feel that you're talking down to them or you're looking down at them, they're going to get that same feeling. So they're not going to be engaged. We're not triggering that trifecta of know, like, and trust. That parasocial behavior is not going to happen. They're just going to hit delete or off and move on. So holding it at eye level is crucial. Which brings us to the next point. You want to make sure that you're talking to the lens. And the lens is that little dot right there. Because what will happen when you start doing your first couple of videos, you'll hit record and suddenly you see yourself on the screen. And it's like, hey, good looking, where have you been all my life? And you start talking to yourself. Well, remember, from the person watching your video point of view, you're not looking at them anymore. You're not making eye contact. So Julie, if I was having a conversation with you, but I'm looking the other way, I've broken that engagement. And the same is true with video. Get into that habit of horizontal at eye level and look into the lens and just have a conversation.
And play with it a little before. If you're not comfortable with it, get comfortable, right?
Yeah, you can't break the thing. I mean, you are who you are. Remember, like I said, be prepared to laugh at yourself because others will.
Exactly.
So let's move on to this point. This is the other one that's crucial. Oh my gosh, your teeth are paid for, I would think, by and large. Smile. A smile is an invitation into your kingdom. And if we, using kingdom, if you look at the animal kingdom, for example, animals smile at one another. But when they show their fangs, it's basically, hey, stay away from my banana. But otherwise, animals smile. That's an invitation to say, I'm not hostile. On video, it's exactly the same thing. And I know for some of you, you look like you got the bouquet at a funeral. I get it. But from the people that are watching your videos, if they don't feel that love coming across, if they don't feel that engagement, what the heck are they watching the video for? And guess what? They won't. So you may have to practice, but get in the habit of smiling. And this last one, point number 6, I suffer from this too because I keep my phone in my back pocket. I'll reach in and without thinking about it, my thumb will cover the lens. And you'll get goo over top of the lens. And when you do a video, you wonder, why does this thing look like I'm in the fog? I'm shooting it from Maine. Well, it's not an effect. It just means you need to clean the lens.
Not the filter you're looking for.
No, it's not the New England clam chowder filter is not one I would recommend. No way. So get in the habit. So a quick recap, you set your phone for do not disturb, hold it horizontally at eye level, look into the lens, big smile, and wipe your lens from time to time. Julie, how are we doing so far?
We're doing great. I do want to let anybody know if you've got questions, you can use that Q&A panel, and we'll try to get to some of those at the end.
It's so nice to hear your voice. I thought I was on this journey all by myself.
No, I'm right here with you, Michael.
Okay, let's go into the deep waters now, Julie.
All right, dive in.
So this is a camera technique. It's called the rule of thirds. And if you'll notice, there's horizontal and vertical lines where this puppy lines up. But if you look over here, can you see, is my mouse moving? Can you see that on the screen?
I can see it.
So this area over here, I'll bet you that you're looking there right now.
I am.
Because you're following the gaze of the puppy. And so what happens, rule of thirds creates this illusion. It pulls us into anticipating that something's going to happen. So if you watch the news tonight, you'll notice that the anchor will probably be dead center. They'll have them right here in the middle. But then within 15 seconds, something's going to happen. They'll shift them over to the third. They'll probably have text running across the bottom, and they'll add a video here to reinforce the message that he's playing, because our brains get lazy. So I'm willing to wager that when you watch TV now, within 15 seconds, something will happen. There'll be a reset, a scene will change, because our brains get lazy. And once again, we're visual animals that are stimulated by what we see. They do this to wake up our brains. So within video, yeah, the same thing applies. By lining it up on the third, or in this case, you can see the woman's on the third, but taking up almost her whole body, or in this case, 2/3. 2/3. Get in the habit of framing your videos that way. And the other reason why, as I mentioned, if I'm doing maybe a video on statistics, I can now add in the video editing software, which is really easy to use, by the way, I can add a picture in here, or I can add another video inside my video. So maybe I'm talking about market stats, or I'm talking about some of the amenities of my office and, oh, the cool computer stuff that we have. So instead of having it completely cover me up, it's just in the corner here. That's called picture in picture. So again, it's called the rule of thirds. Give that some thought when you're framing your shots. Lighting is another thing you want to be careful of. If you're sitting out front of the window, notice the camera here, the light comes over top of the camera and onto this guy's face. If it was the other way around, if he was sitting with his back to the window, the light would be coming into the lens of the camera and he would be completely black. He'd be in shadow. So be conscious of the lighting, because people want to see your face. They also want to see your eyes. And again, this takes us back to those 6 points. Looking into the lens. This is another way that we're hot-wired, how we evolved. I want to see what they call the whites of your eyes, because your eyes tell me, are you aggressive? Are you friendly? Am I going to let you into my tribe? This is all the important stuff that happens in the background that most people don't realize when they're doing video. Now, I'm going to talk about some little bits and pieces here. I'm not saying you have to buy these things. So let this not be an excuse or a reason why you're not doing video. I'm just going to suggest, as you get better at this, you may want to consider some of these things. So this is called an iOgrapher case. Excuse me, Julie, iOgrapher. And the good, the bad, and the ugly about this, it's made out of plastic, fairly sturdy. but it's made for a particular phone. So if I've got a 6S or an 8 Plus, that case is made specifically for that phone. But as you can see in this case, this is an iPhone, it's mounted in. This here is a microphone, and what the case allows me to do is I can attach a mic. If I had a light, I could attach the light here. And if I'm roving around doing, like interview style type videos or man on the street videos, I'm going to have a more stable shot because I've got something to hold on to. But the other part, broker, recruiter, manager types, notice this part here, I can screw this now onto a tripod. So I don't have to try to hold my camera. And if I've got something like a Bluetooth or a selfie stick, let's say this selfie here, that's about $30 with a Bluetooth attachment, I don't have to jump up to hit record. I can just press the button and the camera will start recording by itself. And the same thing when I hit the button again, it will stop recording. Now, Michael, do I have to go buy this stuff? Absolutely not. But I'm suggesting to you maybe in the future, as you start doing maybe more videos outside on location, a selfie stick is a must-have. And a Bluetooth one is a pretty good investment. And again, $30, come on, guys. And just to prove to you, this is Jerry Bresser, probably one of the most revered, I'd say, copywriters in real estate. He wrote the book on scripts and dialogues, basically get out of any situation. He's got a script and dialogue for it. I met with him in Sarnia years back, and we recorded a whole series, a training series, using nothing but my iPad and 2 lapel microphones. So I practice what I preach. And when it comes to microphones, here's a couple. This is a lav mic. It's called an iRig Lav. I'm not necessarily recommending this one per se. This one's a bit expensive. A single one's $40. The dual pack is $80. But what I really like about this one, the dual pack, is notice over here on the right-hand side, this black thing. You'll notice that there's a wire coming into the phone. Well, that's the first microphone. The second microphone that this guy's wearing plugs into this black bit, which then plugs into the phone, meaning I can have exceptional audio quality on me and on my guest. So if I'm doing an interview, I definitely want to make sure that the audio is equal for both of us. And the easiest way to do that, something like this, an iRig Lav 2-pack will allow you to do that. And again, this is $80. So let's go back. Michael, do I have to have this? No. But it's something that I would recommend in the near future if you're serious about video getting. Because remember, people will forgive a shaky video, but if they can't hear you, they're going to disengage. And a lav mic, just a basic, simple lav mic, you'll find them on Amazon for $20. $20. And we're also living in an age, forget about video for a second, this is the podcast generation. The podcast generation. So if you're doing videos of maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're feeling comfortable, your videos are getting longer, within your editing software, you can now pull the audio track out of the video and you can upload that audio to your favorite podcast sites, and now you have a podcast.
Awesome.
And when I talk about podcasts, one of the guys to look up is Joe Rogan, the guy that used to be Fear Factor, MMA fighter. His podcasts are not an hour, they're not 2 hours, they're 3 hours long.
Oh my
before
gosh.
you say, yeah, who's going to listen to that? Julie, he gets are you ready for this? 1.5 billion downloads a year. 1.5 billion downloads a year. And what they've discovered is people aren't as stupid as they thought they were. And I'm talking about TV industry per se. Because when you watch TV, everything is wrapped up within 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Well, how the hell do you even ask the question? Forget about unpacking the answer. But because TV is so tightly scripted and the cost of production is so expensive, they don't allow freeform dialogues to happen. But YouTube, for example, the cost of production is zero. If you have a phone, which is your camera, you can upload that video for free, and it can be 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours long. It costs you zero. That's where we are right now. People have discovered that they've found lost time. And what I mean by that, if I try to read a book, I have to be stationary. But if I listen to a podcast, I can be at the gym, I can be doing dishes, I can be vacuuming, I can be driving in the car. My car now has become a rolling library of information from just listening to podcasts.
Sure.
So something to keep in mind, get that microphone. Let's move on past that one because we know the sound isn't going to be that hot. Apps, iPhone people, Android people, have a smoke, drink a cup of coffee for a second. I don't understand. I don't understand this, Julie. The iPhone is one of the most complex pieces of equipment known to man, more technology in that than what they used to get Neil Armstrong to the moon. But when it comes to recording video, see this little button right down here? The little pause button? You would think that within, not iMovie, but in the video capability of my phone, I could hit pause. And why is that important? Well, let me jump from a broker recruiter point of view to an agent point of view. I'm standing out front of a new listing. Hey, it's Michael here up front of 123 Anywhere Street. I'm going to take you inside and give you a sneak peek. I hit the pause button. I run inside the house. Now I'm in the living room. Hey, it's Michael here in the living room. Wow, look at this big stone fireplace. Hey, let's take a look in the kitchen. Pause. Now I'm in the kitchen. I hit record again. Now what's happened is when I finally hit the stop button, this program will take all those little bits and clips and put them together into one continuous video. If I were to try to do that on my iPhone now, which doesn't have the pause button, I have to hit stop every time. So now what I've done is I've created 5 or 6 separate little clips, which means now I have to open up a video editing software to pull all those clips in to make that movie. Okay, Android people, you can pay attention now. You've already got this built into your phone. So Samsung, Nokia, all those other manufacturers, they got it right. If you go to do a video, you'll notice you've got the pause button. iPhone people, this is probably the best $10 you're ever going to spend. The app is called Movie Pro. And I just bought it for that one feature. But it will literally turn my camera into the equivalent of a Canon $1,500 DSLR camera. It'll give me that much more control. But let's move on. I don't want to hold my hat on this one. But Movie Pro app, iPhone people, must have. Editing. If you want to get into doing editing, and in Michael's world, it's all about being able to do something quick and easily on my phone because I'm a mobile warrior, KineMaster. Now, once upon a time, most of the editing apps that you'll find were a one-time pay. They were like $10, $15 or whatever. But all these manufacturers have wisened up, and it's about monthly continuity. So KineMaster is about $4 a month. I think they charge you $50 for the entire year, but this will basically allow you to trim your video. I can add text. I can add movies on top of movies. I can bring in pictures. It's friggin' awesome. Now, you can download the app for free, and it has limited functionality, but at least it'll give you something to experiment with, and if you like it, then you can buy it. And then once you buy the app, then you can download, every month they come out with new music, new features, and all that's included. So it's a great little app. You can use it for free right now. When you export a video, though, it will be branded with KineMaster in the top there. It'll be their little logo.
Awesome.
Facebook Live is the game changer. Brokers, recruiters, I'd be doing this all day long. You can be doing it from your, let me go back there, from your office. And Facebook Live is exactly that. You're transmitting your video live into Facebook. Now, what I mean by that is as soon as you hit live, people are watching it. Okay, so what's the big deal between that and just uploading a video? Well, the difference is, notice down here, this is a little screen capture I caught. People can engage with you as you're doing your live broadcast. So brokers, maybe you're talking about sales tips and tactics, and you've got a list of potential agents that you're thinking about recruiting. Well, if you got in the habit of doing a weekly broadcast, and it's not about recruiting, it's about helping them get better at their game. What you'll notice is they will start engaging with you live time. They'll make comments. You can see who's watching. You can now interact with them. And when you see a name come up, hey, Julie, how you doing there? You acknowledge them, and there's a higher likelihood that they're going to stay to the very end. The other thing is Facebook loves live video.
They do.
And they love live video because of that very nature of the engagement. And they know the longer that you're playing that video, the longer people will stay in Facebook as opposed to going somewhere else. And that's how they're generating ad revenue. It's all about eyeballs and keeping them there in their little playground. Another variation of this is using Skype. Oh my gosh. iPhone people, we've got FaceTime. I'm going to pull up this guy here. This is John and Bonnie Fincham. The area might not mean anything to you, Muskoka. That's like the high-end cottage properties here in Ontario, Canada. But they control 70% of the market share from the brink of Muskoka up to their town in Parry Sound, again, which means nothing to you. But their average price point is about $1.5 million. And a 3-man team controls 70% of the listing inventory up there.
Wow.
And the videos that John does, he gets onto Facebook. So I'll share with you this one. It wasn't live. It was FaceTime. And he had a client from, I'll call him Bob, from the States. And Bob was a lawyer, and John's in Canada here. And they're talking back and forth. And then he says, hey, Bob, have you got an iPhone or an iPad? And Bob goes, yeah, absolutely. Hey, can we do FaceTime? And Bob says, yeah, sure, let's go for it. So he gets them on, and now they see each other, right? So it's no longer, I'm hearing you on the phone. I can see you. That visceral nature of what video is all about kicks in. And he says, hey, Bob, how would you like to meet my wife, Bonnie? And he hands the iPad to Bonnie. Now, Bob and Bonnie are starting to talk. And it's no longer salespeople. There's this engagement happening. And then they hand it over to Bonnie. So now he's getting to feel like he's part of the family. So John wraps up the call. And then he has one of those duck fart moments when he goes, oh my gosh, I know the perfect property. It just came out this morning. So he calls Bob back. He says, hey, Bob, where are you going to be at 5 o'clock today? I've got the perfect property. And Bob's thinking, well, you know, I've heard that pot is legalized in Canada now. I'm 300 miles away. How do you expect me to get there, Goober, at 5 o'clock? And John goes, no, we'll do the same thing. We'll do FaceTime. And Bob goes, great. So at 5 o'clock, who do you think's with Bob?
Exactly.
He's got his wife, he's got his family, but Bob is an architect and he's at his office and they're in the boardroom. So it's not only the family, all Bob's employees are in the room as well.
Awesome.
So as John starts doing his walkthrough, the wife jumps in and says, hey, John, go back a second. I want to see the kitchen there. Was that a granite countertop? And so he goes over and he's panning over the countertop. And the kids yell out, hey, when you walk by the window, was that a jet ski we saw on the water? And now he goes to the window. John's not even part of the equation anymore. These people are already living vicariously via the video in this property that they bought. And that was $1.5 million. That was all done with people he's never met, and they bought a property that they've never been to. That's the power of this video stuff.
So, Michael, let's talk for a minute. Oh, I'll let you finish up, and then we'll get these questions.
Well, the medium I want to talk about as well is video email. How do I get that email or how do I get that video out there? So technically, recruiters, managers, you can shoot a video, save it on your phone, and you can attach it in an email. But what will happen, video is huge, like the files are really huge. And depending on the ISP on the other side, they may label it as a virus and your video will never get through. So there are various email platforms out there that will take your video and it's called encoding. It will take it from your phone, it compresses it into a format that makes it really, really tiny. And also the encoding part will say, if the video is going to play on an iPhone, for example, the video will go, oh, this is an iPhone. I've got to reconform to fit onto that screen. Oh, I'm going onto an Android tablet. I've got to reconform to fit to that. Oh, I'm on a 4K TV. I've got to reconform to fit to that. And that's all part of this encoding process that you can't get when you're just attaching a video to an email. Mm-hmm. And so something like this platform here, the future of video engagement, and I'm not going to do it here, but these little blue buttons, if I were to click on those, I could advance through pictures that I've uploaded with this, PDF docs, YouTube videos, all associated within this page. But the other thing, when I send this out as an email, the person that receives it can now engage with me live time through live chat, or by hitting the phone icon here, they can phone me back directly. This right now, this is the future of video delivery, especially for recruiters, getting your message out in a way that people could communicate back with you instantly. Julie, what were you going to say?
Love it. Well, I wanted to talk for a minute about topics for brokers, some video ideas for recruiters and brokers.
Well, here we are. I brought up that slide right on time.
Oh.
So I'm going to share with you some messages here, context, and I call it a before, during, and after. And I would say at any event, training event, or something that you're going to do, consider what you can do before the event, what's happening during the event, and after the event. So here's a new listing. One of your agents has just taken a new listing. Okay, great. You got to remember, brokers, recruiters, it's not about just recruiting new people. You have to get the ones that you already have to still feel like they're in love with you. You've got to recruit the recruits you already have. And so part of that is take a quick moment to do a video and say, hey, Sally, congratulations on taking that video, and post that out for the office to see, or it's directly to her. This could be someone that you're recruiting. What if you were to send them a quick video email? Hey, Julie, I just saw you listed 123 Anywhere Street. Way to go. Way to go. And if you ever feel like getting together for a coffee, let me know. Now, I wasn't trying to recruit. I didn't give her all the reasons why she should join my office. It was a friendly pat on the back for doing a job well done. Let me ask you this. Do you think her broker's doing that?
No.
Let's move on to another example here. Open house videos, same thing. I would be announcing my open house. Instead of sitting around eating chicken watching TV at the open house, I would do a video of an open house. Okay, what does that have to do with a broker manager trying to recruit? Well, I would grab a handful of my business cards. I'd take a look at who's doing open houses, not in my office, but in the ones of the agents I'm trying to recruit. And I'd be in my car Saturday, Sunday. I'd be dropping by those open houses, and I'd say, hey, Julie, I was just dropping by. I saw your open house sign. You're doing a great job. Just want to leave you my card. Hey, if you ever feel like getting together for a coffee, let me know. And then you go. You didn't try to recruit her. But later on that afternoon, while you're having a vodka tonic or whatever beverage of choice, you would pull out your camera and you would shoot a quick video email to send her and say, hey, Julie, it was a pleasure meeting you at your open house today. Job well done. If there's anything I can ever do for you, if you'd like to get together for coffee, let me know. Again, how many times do you think her broker or her manager has done that for her? Agents are working on the weekends. They don't think you are. Acknowledge the fact that they're working. Sure, they're doing what they're supposed to do, but that simple acknowledgement, that tap on the back makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
Congratulations too. Now, what I like to say is same thing. How many times have we congratulated the cooperating agent for a job well done? So let's say it's my listing, my office listing, but Julie, you came in with the offer and your buyers, and we put the deal together. A quick video from the broker, manager, recruiter to that agent, thanking them for bringing in the offer. And Julie, I just wanted to let you know, Bob, that you did the offer with, said that you were super professional and that you just made this a breeze. So thank you for all you do. Hey, and if you ever want to get together for a coffee, let me know. So I'm not a recruiter, but I know a lot of broker managers that are. The ones that don't push, the ones that aren't trying to close for the listing every time, that are just there. They know it's like a lighthouse in the storm. These agents see that you're there all the time. And again, remember we talked about leadership, leading from the front by using the technology? You're showing them that you're hip, you're cool, but you're technologically savvy, that you're using the cutting edge tools. Those are the types of brokers, managers, recruiters that they're going to respond to.
I love it.
Another example, typical office meeting, or so let's say it's an event. Julie and Judy are hosting the recruiting event of the year. And so me as the broker, what I was saying, hey guys, you know, Julie is here and Judy Ledoux are in town. Man, we got to go see these cats. We're going to meet for breakfast, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I rented a van. We're all going to go together. There's the first video. Now we're at the event. I would pull up my camera, either Facebook Live or record a video that I'm going to send out to my office. Oh my gosh, guys and gals, what you're missing here today, the 5 simple tricks to XYZ, whatever that is. I would get a few bullet points and I would mention that in the video. And we're going to be talking about this at our upcoming office meeting. So that's during, before. Now after the event, that's another reason to send out a video. Oh my gosh, guys and gals, the ones that weren't there at our office meeting, I'm going to be sharing with you. Go over some of those bullet points again. Every time that you send out a video, it's one more opportunity for your agents to experience you. And I know you're busy and you're running around. Chances are they don't really interact with you that much. And even if they do, video is a completely different level because of what I talked about, that parasocial behavior. They are getting this visceral feeling of you. They're getting to know, like, and trust you even more.
Love it.
Which brings us back to this one. Number 1, remember we set it for do not disturb. Hold your phone horizontally, eye level, speak to the lens, smile, and clean that lens.
Love it.
And one more thing before I go on here, I talked about using video apps or editing apps. All because I can take my favorite John Denver music and put it onto a video doesn't mean I can do it. It's called copyright infringement. If you're posting videos to YouTube, they'll shut down your account, they'll shut down the video. You want to make sure you're using music that you're entitled to. Most of the editing apps will have a music library built into it, so make sure you're not ripping off other people's music because you will pay a price for it. And last but not least, I call it beware of the witches and trolls. Brokers, managers, recruiters, even your agents. Once you flex your video muscle, you are doing something that other brokers, recruiters, managers wish that they could do. And suddenly you're going to find out who your friends are, but more importantly, who your enemies are. Because they're going to be sending you messages and saying, oh my God, Julie, what were you thinking? How could you wear your hair that way? Or that color, that's not you. And what I'm going to say to you, and you can't see it because my webcam's not on, but you're going to hold up one finger. And it can be whatever finger of choice.
You can say they're number 1.
With that finger, you're going to hit delete, unfriend, and move on. Because as that old saying goes, if you rustle in the mud with a pig, you get dirty and the pig gets happy. You'll never win in a troll fight. Delete, move on, life is too short. But just be aware, they're going to be out there. Delete, move on. Julie, I turn it over to you.
Well, I love how you end with that, so that we've got a little Halloween theme. That was awesome. I
There
want
you
to go back for a minute too to video ideas for brokers. One, you should, if you're bringing on new agents, take a quick video, ask them why they joined. What was the differentiator? What was the deciding factor? Your top producers, ask them, what makes ABC Realty your home of choice, for your license, that kind of thing. So those little, and they don't have to be long, they don't have to be scripted, they can be quick, just a little blurb. Those go a long way to helping other agents make the decision to come to your office.
There's a little
I
formula
love
that I
video
use.
testimonials. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I use it with agents to do testimonials, and I call it the 4 whats, but this can be adapted into broker recruiters managers. And the question I would be asking when they've come aboard, I'd say, hey, what was your biggest fear or concern about coming over? Because leaving home for the first time, that's a big decision. So when they're leaving the brokerage that they feel comfortable with, they've got these misgivings, reservations about what it is. Ask them, what was your biggest fear or concern about coming over? And that's a topic right there for a testimonial. What did we do to eliminate that fear? What did we do to eliminate that fear?
You're also going to want to talk about what differentiates your office. Judy, you can jump in here too. But
what would you tell other agents about us? That's the other part of it.
What are your 12 differentiators? Oh, Judy must be on.
Yeah, Judy brought her whole course with her.
All right, well, I'll jump in for you, Judy. Anyway, I think those are great things. And one of the things I like to do, and I'm sure you teach this as well when you're teaching agents specifically, is to kind of overcome some of that fear of doing this. Go ahead and write out a list of 10 ideas that you can use, or 12 ideas or whatever, so that you have time to wrap your brain around it a little bit. So I think that's a positive. On that note, anything else from you? And we're gonna put this on the blog, where we're gonna share Michael's information, how you can get hold of him. I love the idea of the video email. I think there are some services out there that brokers are using, but from what I understand, this program that you're using is much less expensive and really effective. So I'm very curious to learn more about that. So I'll get that information and get that out to all of you. Any parting words from you there, Michael, before I close this up?
Yeah, 2 quick things. You just brought, you created a brain fart there, Julie. The idea of, crafting a video or writing down things. There's something called the 10 by 10. Write down the 10 most asked questions. So when I do this with agents, to put it in a broker recruiting standpoint, what are the 10 most common questions that a potential recruiter is going to ask you?
Awesome.
And I would write down those 10 questions. But then you, as the savvy broker, know there are 10 things they should ask, but they don't even know what to ask. So now you got 20 things. Each one of those is now a separate video that can be an email. It could be part of your series. In this episode, I'm going to cover point number 1, whatever that is. The other thing is, don't get hung up about having a teleprompter or reading a script. I'm not going to say his name, Mike Ferry, but that guy makes millions of dollars doing what he does. Have you ever noticed him on stage? He carries a white pad in his hand. There's nothing wrong with looking down at a pad and saying point number next. You don't have to memorize. And I don't know if it's senility or that's just his style, but he doesn't do 1, 2, 3 anymore. It's point number 1, point number 2, and then point number next. You can do exactly the same thing. Yellow pad of paper in your hand, use it as a reference. Don't read off it, but it's a reference to keep you on track with the message you're trying to deliver.
And your videos are quick, so you don't get too hung up in how much contact. You don't want 14-point plans in your videos. You will just want one, and then you can make another one on number 2.
But it could be a webinar, or if you're doing a Facebook Live,
absolutely,
like we talked about, which is longer. There's nothing wrong with having points there that you can refer to.
I love it. Well, what is the name of the email service? Can you give us that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called QuickPage.io, and if they do QuickPage.io/Michael, they'll get a 14-day free trial, no credit card required.
Awesome. And I will put that in the blog as well. Thank you, Michael. On that note, I wanted to say happy November. We're launching into a new month tomorrow. And it's really important to get, just, you had like that video, the visual of the ducks, getting your ducks in a row. It's the time of year to get your ducks in a row long before next year. You're probably putting your business plans together. You're probably helping your agents get their business plans together. So it's the perfect time to make sure that you've got the tools, the technology, the training, and the strategies that you need to hit the ground running in 2020. So don't wait until January to do that. So if you're a guest on our show today, we'd love for you to check out theprofitablerecruiter.com. We've got a 50% off through the end of the year, so you can look at that. Michael's going to give us a 14-day free trial on his email service, so we're excited about that. And again, watch for this on the blog. We'll get this out to everybody. And Michael, I'll get you a link too, so you can share it with your friends in the world, in the real estate world.
Hey, Julie, thanks so much for having me. And Judy Ledour, who's in the closet there somewhere, thank you so much as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us, Michael. As always, you are not only informational, but highly entertaining. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today, and I wish you a great November ahead. Bye-bye, everybody.